Howdy, folks. I'm Jeff.
Well, I say I'm John.
And yes, to say that.
And Candace says, and I'm the substitute Candace.
HR.
HR. We're so excited tonight's show. The amazing women in automotive, the women in auto care, the different groups that we have. And we're going to work on the first Wednesday of every month, sponsored by Milton Industries, on sharing the stories. But tonight's special guest, and once again, we're sponsored by Milton Industries, Z-Line, LTI, Steck, and Promax. And like I said, I didn't realize Tonnika is also Browns Automotive. She's also a director on the ASTA board. So now let's hear Tonika's story, because I think it's a slightly different, it's Browns Automotive. And I kind of heard the story about, because your dad's there, your dad was there, you've taken over. Tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about it. Explain that, all of that. Tell us the story.
Okay, so my story is different, a lot of similarities. My dad started a shop, a collision center in 1980. I was only 3, so I didn't do much, right? But so in 2001, we moved our collision center to a new location, but we also opened a service department to make sure that we got the insurance company to pay mechanical rates, because if you didn't have a separate building, they only would give you, like at the time, it was like $38 per hour. So we made a separate building, separate business just for the collision side to make more money on the mechanical labor. But anyway, so I really started working for Dad every summer, but I got a check at the age of 16. And I need to talk to him about that. I get some back pay. So the summer that I turned 16, Dad comes, I'm out of school, and he comes to the shop and he looks at me in his true William Brown voice and says, "Hey, I'm going on vacation." And he left me at the shop all summer by myself.
All summer.
All summer, yeah. It was sink or swim. Yeah. So that's how I got, not really pushed, because I always loved what I was doing. I love hanging around the shop. I love being with Dad, but I was on my own for the whole summer. And at that time, it was still just collision stuff. But that was a real exciting learning experience. Eye-opening, exactly. So lots of mistakes were made, nothing caught on fire. And the business was still open at the end of the summer. So I got pushed in that way. Graduated high school, went to college at UNC Greensboro, right around the corner. And then that whole time, I was commuting back and forth. I only went to college on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and sometimes Wednesday night. But I worked through college, and I just loved it. And then he retired 8 years ago. And when he retired, we decided to rent out the collision portion of the business because there's no money there. And so I got the chance to build a mechanical shop, that wasn't our focus, because when I first took it over, we may have done $25,000 a month, because it was just kind of brand new. The only mechanical work we really did was for the insurance claims. So that's how I started. Dad's retired. He's completely healthy. Everything's great. He was just tired of people and dealing with insurance companies and stuff. That can wear you out. And he had been doing it a very long time. And so that's how I got started. And shortly after that, through Facebook, the internet and everything, just started talking to people, networking, actually not really networking, just kind of lurking and being nosy and trying to make industry friends. And then I went to my first AST meeting. I met Buckaroo Bob. I sat with him at the ASOG dinner. I felt very welcome.
Was that a year ago?
No, that was 3 years ago. My first one was 3 years ago.
Okay.
And so I was kind of there, a little scared, trying to figure out where I fit in, But
And then you sat next to me.
Then I sat next to him. Help me. I've been scarred. But it just started, talking to people. So I'd really never been a wrench turner. I know how to do a lot of things. I can do an oil change. I can do a brake job. Dad always made me learn those things, but I never really worked in the shop. I can paint a little bit. I'm pretty sure I have a lot of runs in it. But not really a technical type person. I like the business aspect of it. I love to help people. That's just my love language. And that's how that started.
And so, a couple of things there, because I actually am certified paint and body, and I did paint and body. Uh, do you feel it's important to you, because you got all these guys coming in, and you got ones that can't work on cars, and they know the business, so they come in as shop owners that can run the place. But it's like, do you think it's important to be able to know and work on a little bit, so you understand a little bit of why the customers are asking questions? And I want to shout out to your dad, because being involved with the paint and body and knowing the insurance companies, and like you said, they pay $38 an hour, and they want to cheat you out of the mechanical rates, and they don't want to pay you all that. And they kind of control it, and everybody doesn't really know that or realize that. And so many of the older guys, and I'm old myself, but the older ones that have gotten out and retired are grumpy. And it would be like, why are they like that? Well, if you had to deal with those insurance companies, when you deal with that on a day-to-day basis, all that negativity, it does, I'm sorry, it affects you, and you get a little grumpy and cantankerous. And us old guys are like that anyway. So when you add that on, shout out to your dad. And then all of a sudden to jump into mechanical and go, oh my gosh, we can charge a lot more money.
That's exactly how I felt. The first week after the new owners, rented the building, and I was used to running around like a headless chicken. The first week I didn't know what to do with myself. And then I realized, wait a minute, you mean I don't have to negotiate with insurance companies about what I'm charging? Because even now, 8 years later, if someone comes in with a potential insurance claim, I say, hey, you can make this an insurance claim, but I'm just going to let you know you're my customer, and I do not negotiate with insurance companies. And if you're willing to accept that, I can give you all of your ammunition to make sure you get as much money as you can back. But I am not talking to them. I don't care about your rental coverage. I am not throwing on a used part. I am doing what's on this paper, the conversations between you and I, and everybody else can kick rocks.
Don't need practice.
I mean, I literally had a State Farm guy, he called me, he said, she told me you wouldn't talk to me because he wanted to put one strut on the car. I was like, what? So our policy says that that's really nice, but your policy doesn't affect me, and love you, bye. So yeah.
My favorite thing Candace learned was, I don't need to practice.
There's nowhere to park in my front yard, so it's okay.
I agree with you, Mike. From the first day I met this woman, I knew she was a powerhouse, and she is part of my life. I look up to her, I admire, and like Mike said, you're his spirit animal. I think you're the person in my life that fires me up the most. I really love listening to your story. I really love listening to you talk and tell, bam, this is how I got to where I am. This is what I do. I just love it.
I mean, it's still hard, and there's a lot of things to learn, but I credit everything to my dad and my grandma, because I was raised. My dad's a Marine, and he's William Brown. Like, you just don't cross him. I'm spoiled. He's got a spoiled daughter. I'm his baby, but he does not play. And I know, and I do a lot of stuff to make him proud, because I want to. He doesn't. I get my attaboys and all that stuff, but I really want to make him proud, because I do remember walking around in Carrboro with my dogs, because my dad worked 24/7. I mean, he built this from the ground up. I've got pictures of me walking around the shop with a gravel driveway, his makeshift paint booth, his makeshift frame machine with a chain and a tree. I've watched him do the work. And at the end, he was grumpy. I mean, he just didn't even know what he didn't know. And I got to see the other side of it. He did so much hard work. But when I let those insurance companies go and all of that craziness and got everybody out of my business, it blows his mind. I'm like, Dad, if we would have did this 40 years ago, could you imagine? But that was his love. He's an artist too. So if you're an artist and you like to tinker like Adam is over there, you like stuff like that. Like, my dad's not mechanically inclined. He doesn't care anything about the things under the hood, other than as long as it's loud and very expensive and burns up gas. But the art of the collision, just getting something fixed, he loves that. He really does. So,
and see, now so much of that is interconnected, because when you talk about the ADAS systems on them now, And you talk about the engines, and it's like, okay, well, you know, we got to remove this and this to get to that water pump. We got to remove this and this to get to the AC, and realizing that a lot of these mechanics are doing collision type work, pulling off bumper covers and all that, that we didn't used to do years and years ago. And now you also have to start talking about the calibrating and all that. So tell us real quick, tell us what inspired you to get onto the board with ASTA?
See, it was tacos because Mike Allen tricked me. It's like, oh, look, we're going to meet at the taco spot. And see how he got us? And I like tacos. Oh, look, try this tequila. Hey, do you want a spicy margarita? No, I don't want a spicy margarita. Apparently I did. And so it's alcohol and taco induced. There we go.
Oh my
So
gosh.
the whole North Carolina ASTA board is built on bribes.
Did you just tell
I don't
me
know if
your
y'all notice
weakness?
I don't know if y'all notice a theme or not, but
Food.
we have built an incredible board of directors all through manipulation and alcohol.
And
Yes.
food. I'm hearing food.
Food.
Well, at least I
and
don't feel
alcohol.
bad for falling for it now.
So that pound cake is something else. So that would have been easy. But for me, it was tacos. I was like, oh, this is, can you want to meet me for tacos? Absolutely.